Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are completely shifting gears. We're stepping away from the hustle, the grind, and all the notification pings of modern life. We are heading to a very specific set of coordinates on the map to a place that, well, it feels like it shouldn't really exist in our world.
It really does feel like a lost world. We're going to the northern end of Okinawa, Japan.
To a rural village called Ogimi.
Exactly.
And this isn't just, a travelogue. This village has a reputation that, well, it borders on the mystical. They call it the Village of Longevity.
They do.
And honestly, when I first read the stats for this deep dive, I thought it had to be a typo.
It's not a typo. The data coming out of Ogimi is staggering. You have roughly 24 people over the age of 100 for every 100,000 inhabitants.
Wow.
That is significantly higher than the global average. But what's so fascinating here isn't just the math. It's not just that people are reaching 100.
It's how they're reaching 100.
Yes, exactly.
Right, because nobody actually wants to live to 100 if the last 20 years are just misery or, being hooked up to machines.
Exactly. We're talking about health span versus lifespan. And in Ogimi, these centenarians aren't languishing. They're gardening. I think everyone was riding a motorcycle.
They're dancing. They have a vitality that people half their age in the West just don't have.
They really do.
So our mission today is to crack the code. We're unpacking the book Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life by Héctor García and Francesc Miralles.
And they actually traveled to Ogimi.
Yeah, they went there to interview these super seniors and find out the secret sauce. And it turns out the secret sauce has a name, Ikigai.
Pronounced Ikigai.
Right. I feel like I've seen this word floating around Instagram lately.
Oh, for sure.
Usually superimposed over a picture of a misty mountain or maybe a cup of matcha. But we need to go beyond the meme. What does it actually mean?
Well, if you look at the Japanese characters, it combines iki, which means life, and gai, meaning to be worthwhile. So a poetic translation is a reason for being.
A reason for being.
But the locals in Ogimi are a bit more practical. They tend to translate it as the happiness of always being busy.
The happiness of always being busy. That's interesting because busy is usually a stress word for us, isn't it?
It is. But there's a deeper layer. I think the most profound definition of the book is the reason we get up in the morning.
Which is a remarkably high bar when you think about it. I mean, for a lot of people, the reason they get up is the alarm clock is annoying.
Or they have a mortgage to pay.
Right. Not exactly a spiritual calling.
And that's exactly where the friction is. You've probably seen the famous Venn diagram for Ikigai.
Oh yeah, the 4 circles.
Imagine 4 intersecting circles. What you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and the last one, what you can be paid for.
And the bullseye right in the middle.
That's your Ikigai.
Yeah.
It's that sweet spot where passion, mission, vocation, and profession all sort of overlap. But here is where it gets really interesting, culturally speaking. In the West, we segment our lives. We have work mode, which is often just for the paycheck, and then life mode for the weekends.
And the ultimate goal for the Western worker is what?
Retirement.
Retirement, the finish line.
Yeah.
You work for 40 years, hit 65, and then you just stop. You go sit on a beach, play golf.
Precisely. But in Ogimi, retirement doesn't exist.
You mean they can't afford to retire?
No, I mean linguistically. In the Japanese language, there is no word that means retire in that Western sense.
No word for it.
Not for leaving the workforce for good. It's just,
Okay.
it's not a concept. The idea that you would just abruptly stop being useful to society because you hit a certain age is totally foreign to them.
Wow. That is a massive mindset shift. So they don't see work as a necessary evil to be endured until freedom.
Not at all. They see being active as a condition of life. You might change what you do. Maybe you start running the company and start mentoring.
Switch from farming to just gardening.
Right. But you never stop having a purpose. You maintain your Ikigai until the very end.
This connects to a really vivid analogy in the book about aging and technology. They call it the rabbit analogy.
Yes, I love this one.
I found this super helpful for visualizing the difference between just living longer and living better. Can you walk us through the rabbit?
Sure. So this is based on the concept of aging escape velocity. Imagine a rabbit holding a sign with a number on it.
Okay.
That number is the date of your death. And the rabbit is walking away from you into the future. But you're aging, so you're walking toward the rabbit.
Slightly morbid, but I'm following. Eventually, I catch the rabbit and it's game over.
Right. Now, the goal of modern medical technology is to make the rabbit walk faster. If medicine improves, the rabbit moves further away from you.
So you get more time.
The theoretical goal of futurists, people like Ray Kurzweil, is to make the rabbit walk faster than you do. If that happens, you reach escape velocity, and technically.
You never catch your death date. Immortality.
In theory. But the book points out that while technology is great, current biology suggests there's a hard cap on human life, somewhere around 120 years.
We haven't figured out how to break that yet.
Not yet.
So if we're capped at 120 and we can't chase the rabbit forever, the strategy shouldn't just be about speed. It should be about, well, enjoying the walk.
Exactly. And that brings us to the psychology of Ikigai. Because if you're going to be walking for 100 years, you need a good reason to keep putting one foot in front of the other.
And the authors dive deep into two specific schools of therapy to explain this.
Logotherapy and Morita therapy.
Let's unpack logotherapy first. This is Viktor Frankl, right? The man's search for meaning guy.
Yes. Frankl was a psychiatrist and a Holocaust survivor. And his approach is fascinating when you compare it to, say, Freud.
Freud was all about looking back.
Right. He was retrospective, digging into your childhood, your past traumas, looking backward to explain why you are the way you are. Frankl was. Well, he was future-focused.
He had a question he asked patients that sounds absolutely shocking to modern ears.
It is confronting. He would look a patient in the eye and ask, "Why do you not commit suicide?"
I mean, wow. It sounds incredibly harsh, but I guess it just cuts right through all the noise.
It forces an immediate inventory of value. The patient has to scramble to find a reason to live. Is it your children? A book you haven't finished writing?
A cause you need to serve.
Exactly. Frankl believed that what he called existential frustration arises when life is without purpose. He even identified a specific condition called Sunday neurosis.
Oh, I have definitely felt that. That's the Sunday scaries, right?
It's a very specific flavor of it. It's that anxiety that hits when the busy work weekends, the external demands stop, and suddenly you are faced with the void inside yourself.
You feel empty because nobody is telling you what to do, and you don't have a purpose of your own to fill that time. So Ikigai is the cure for Sunday neurosis. If you have a purpose, Sunday is just another day to pursue it.
Precisely. Now, the second therapy they discuss is Morita therapy, developed by Shoma Morita. And this is very Zen-influenced, and honestly, it's almost the opposite of how we handle feelings in the West.
Western therapy is often about analyzing feelings, fixing them, trying to control them.
Right. Morita says, stop trying. He argues that emotions are like the weather. If it's raining, you don't argue with the sky. You don't try to force the sun to come out.
You just open an umbrella and keep walking.
You keep walking to where you need to go.
Yeah.
He uses this donkey metaphor, which I thought was brilliant.
It's perfect.
Imagine a donkey tied to a post. If the donkey gets spooked and tries to run away, what happens? It just gets tangled in the rope. The more it struggles, the tighter the knots get.
And the more mobilized it becomes.
And Murray says we do this with our own anxiety or obsessive thoughts. We try to think our way out of them, which just traps us further.
So the Morita approach is what? Just let the donkey be.
Yes, accept your feelings. But here is the kicker. Do not let the feelings dictate your actions. The mantra is action over emotion.
Action over emotion.
You do what you're supposed to do, regardless of whether you feel happy or sad or anxious.
It's not, I'll do it when I feel better. It's, I'll do it and maybe I'll feel better later. But the treatment he prescribed. Tell the listener about the isolation phase, because this sounds like a prison sentence.
It's intense. The first phase of Morita therapy is roughly 7 days of total isolation. You're in a room. No books, no TV, no phone, no talking.
Nothing.
You just lie there and observe your stream of consciousness.
I think I would lose my mind after about 4 hours.
That's the point.
Yeah.
It is designed to bore you so profoundly that you become desperate to engage with the world again.
I see.
After that week, you're allowed to do silent, repetitive tasks, then physical labor like chopping wood, and only then do you re-enter society.
It's a hard reset. You're retraining your brain to find joy in simple action.
And that focus on action leads us directly to the next pillar of Ikigai, flow.
Right, we've heard of flow before, being in the zone. But the Japanese take this to a whole other level, don't they? With the concept of the takumi.
Oh, absolutely. Takumi refers to an artisan, but it implies a level of expertise that's almost spiritual.
Like at Toyota.
Right. We think of car manufacturing as just robots and assembly lines. But Toyota employs takumi master craftsmen who hand make specific screws and dies that machines simply cannot replicate with the same quality.
There was that incredible anecdote about the makeup brushes in Kumano, too.
Yes, the authors visited a factory making these high-end brushes, and they watched a woman sorting bristles. And imagine that job, sorting individual hairs for a brush.
Sounds like the most tedious job on earth.
It does. But
Yeah.
this woman was working with such speed and grace that her hands were practically dancing. She didn't even notice the visitors were there.
She was in flow.
Completely. The ego dissolves, time vanishes, you become one with the task. And it's not just traditional crafts. Steve Jobs was apparently obsessed with this Japanese artisan spirit.
He was a huge fan of Japan, and specifically their porcelain makers.
He met a Takumi named Yukio Shakunaga. Jobs wanted to buy some teacups, but he wanted something new.
So what happened?
Shakunaga ended up making 150 teacups just to find the perfect 12 to send to Steve Jobs. That pursuit of perfection, not for the money but for the craft itself, that is Ikigai.
But, and here's the good news for those of us who aren't master ceramicists.
Or billionaire tech moguls.
Right. You don't have to be a Takumi to find flow. There's this concept of microflow.
This is the practical takeaway. You can turn even mundane tasks into a flow state just by adding rules or complexity. The book describes an elevator operator in a Tokyo department store.
Her job is just pushing buttons. Boring.
Incredibly. But she turned it into a performance, a sequence of graceful salutes, specific voice intonations, efficient movements. She wasn't just operating a lift, she was performing a ritual.
She gave the task meaning. Even Bill Gates does this.
He does. He washes the dishes every night.
And he says it helps him relax because he follows a set order: plates first, forks second. He's creating a container for his attention.
It's his own microflow.
Yeah.
And then you have Hayao Miyazaki, the legendary director of Studio Ghibli. He technically retired, right?
Yeah, but the book says he still goes to the studio on Sundays just to draw.
He can't help it. He's in a permanent state of flow with his art. And that's the lesson. If you're bored, you're not in flow. If you're anxious, the task is too hard, you have to find that middle channel.
Okay, so we have the mindset purpose, we have the method flow. Now let's talk about the fuel, the Ikigai diet. What are these people in Ogimi actually eating to live to 110?
Well, before we even get to what they eat, we have to talk about how they eat. There is a phrase you hear constantly in Okinawa, harahachibu.
Fill your belly to 80%.
It's a mantra they recite before and after meals. It is the anti-buffet mentality.
And there's real science behind this.
Oh yeah, this is basically calorie restriction. We know from studies that slight calorie restriction reduces levels of IGF-1, which is a protein involved in the aging process.
Less IGF-1 equals slower aging.
That seems to be the case.
But knowing when you're 80% full is really hard. There's a lag time between your stomach and your brain. By the time I feel full, I'm actually at 110%.
That's the danger zone. So the Okinawans use these clever visual tricks. They serve meals on many small plates, not one big dinner plate.
So it looks like more food.
It tricks the brain into thinking you're eating more variety and volume than you actually are.
And what is on those small plates? Is it some kind of magic berry?
It's basically the rainbow. They eat an average of 18 different foods per day. That variety is key.
Okay.
It's heavy on tofu, sweet potatoes, which are their carb staple, not rice and fish, about 3 times a week, and a massive amount of vegetables, about 11 ounces a day.
What about sugar?
Very low. They consume about 1/3 of the sugar that the rest of Japan does. But they do have a superfruit that's native to Ogimi, the shikawasa.
I was fascinated by this. It looks like a little lime.
It's a tiny citrus, very acidic. You can't really eat it like an orange.
Yeah.
You use it as a seasoning or dilute it with water. But it is packed with nobiletin, a high-powered antioxidant.
And Ogimi is a huge producer of this fruit.
The biggest. And they wash it all down with tea.
Gallons of it, I'm guessing?
Gallons of it. Specifically sanpincha, which is a mix of green tea and jasmine flowers. It's supposed to lower cholesterol and reduce anxiety.
So physically, it's a low-calorie, high-nutrient, antioxidant-rich input.
Pretty much a perfect formula.
Now, let's talk about the output. Physical movement. When I hear healthy 100-year-old, I imagine someone who's been a fitness fanatic their whole life. But that's not what they found in Ogimi, is it?
Not at all. You won't find many 100-year-olds pumping iron or running marathons, but, and this is the key, you also won't find them sitting still. Their lifestyle requires constant, gentle movement. They garden, they walk everywhere, and they don't have a lot of furniture.
Which means they're sitting on the floor.
Right, on tatami mats. And think about the mechanics of that. Dozens of times a day, you have to do a deep squat just to stand up from the floor with no armrest to help you.
Doing that into your 90s would maintain incredible lower body strength and balance.
And balance is the #1 defense against falls, which is usually the beginning of the end for the elderly.
Right.
They also have this specific routine called radio taiso.
This sounded so charming. It's a radio broadcast.
It's a national phenomenon.
Well,
Every morning, the radio plays piano music and guides people through these gentle calisthenics. About 30% of Japanese people do it daily.
and the residents in the Ogimi nursing home were doing it.
Yep, even from their wheelchairs. It involves simple things like raising your arms above your head.
Which, if you think about modern life, we rarely do that. We're always hunched over our phones or keyboards.
Exactly. So keep moving, but keep it gentle. Now, for the final pillar. Yeah, and honestly, this might be the most powerful safety net they have. The social structure, the moai.
This connects back to the longevity part in a huge way. A moai isn't just a group of friends you grab a beer with. It's more formal than that.
It is. A moai is an informal group of people with common interests who look out for one another. It actually started with farmers pooling resources.
But it's financial too, right? That's the part that really surprised me.
It is. Members contribute a set monthly amount to the group pot. That money is used for dinners and games, sure. But if a member is in trouble,
Like a crop fails or roof leaks.
or a medical bill comes up, they can get an advance from the group savings.
That is profound. It's like an insurance policy, but it's based on friendship and trust, not some corporate contract.
Imagine the stress reduction, with absolute certainty that you will never be alone and you will never be destitute. That eliminates a massive amount of cortisol from your system.
And we all know stress is a killer. So you combine the diet, the gentle movement, the safety net of the moai, and the purpose of Ikigai. It's a powerful formula.
It really is. The authors interviewed dozens of these centenarians, and I think we should share some of their direct wisdom. Because while we've been talking about science and psychology, their advice is delightfully simple.
It really is. One woman, Maria Capovilla, who lived to be very old, said, "I've never eaten meat in my life."
But then you have Jean Calment,
Yeah.
the French woman who lived to 122, who is mentioned in the book. Her secret.
Everything's fine.
That stoicism is key. In Ogimi, they heard things like, the secret is smiling. But one that stood out to me was to keep healthy. Eat just a little of everything with relish.
With relish, I love that. Enjoy it. Don't stress about the diet. Just enjoy the food.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of enjoyment in nature, we have to mention the Bunagaya.
The spirits of the Yambaru jungle.
Yes. The locals believe in these long-haired red sprites that live in the banyan trees. It sounds like folklore, but it shows this deep, playful connection to nature.
They aren't just living on the land. They feel like a part of its mythology.
Yeah.
And that connection, whether it's to spirits in a tree or just hours in the garden, it's grounding. It pulls you out of your own head.
So we can't all move to Ogimi. We probably can't start a financial cooperative with our neighbors tomorrow.
Probably not.
But we can apply the principles.
We can stop eating before we're stuffed. We can prioritize our friendships. We can find flow in our daily chores. And underpinning it all, we can find our Ikigai.
There's a statue in Ogimi with a declaration that I think sums it all up perfectly.
It reads, "At 80, I am still a child. When I come to see you at 90, send me away to wait until I'm 100.
Send me away. I just love that attitude. I'm not ready to go yet. I have things to do.
It's the complete opposite of the waiting for retirement mindset. It's an active engagement with life until the very end.
So here's a challenge for you listening right now. We want to leave you with a final provocative thought.
Yeah.
If you were to lose your job title today, and if we stripped away your social status, what would be the reason you get out of bed tomorrow morning?
It's a big question.
It is. But finding the answer to that might just be the secret to a long and happy life. That is your search for Ikigai. Thanks for diving deep with us.
See you next time.